What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Justin, the content creating realtor, man, and I am so excited because I'm with my family. Jesse Barnes from Real Estate Matters.
What's up, everybody?
We said we were gonna do a podcast.
We did it.
We did it, right?
We're here. But I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk. I'm excited. It's gonna be good.
I'm really excited though to connect with you guys because I have a passion for people. I have a passion for learning. I'm hungry, man. I come from nothing. I've been through a lot. And it's all about who you surround yourself with and who you network with.
I'm excited for all of this just because I like to give back. I like to inspire people. And I think that there's the options that we've talked about with where this thing might go are, divergent. And there's a billion, trillion, quadrillion different kind of pathways it might. But the cool thing is, like, when everything breaks down, the idea was like, let's get excited. Let's see, talk about what we do and see if we can't excite other people about it, motivate other people.
We are just so excited to network with you guys and give you value and change your life. And it's all about starting these type of conversations that we're going to have tonight. So our guest, listen, I don't even know how to introduce him. I'm going to have him introduce himself, but I don't even know how many businesses he has, but he has a lot. He's not no just six-figure earner. He is a boss. He is a CEO. Successful individuals that have put their mind to something and changed their lives, their families, and this is Joe McCabe, guys. What's up, Joe?
What's going on, Justin? Did you practice that?
Man, I wish I practiced. It's just I used to freestyle back in the day, so that was just my way of like being poetic.
Awesome.
And saying
Appreciate
all these nice
words.
Things about you. You know what I mean?
Appreciate it. The thing he didn't tell you was he was a pretty girl on a fake profile, and that's how we met.
He fished me. He catfished me. How would you introduce yourself?
Well, I guess I'd say that I am a veteran and entrepreneur in a few different industries and looking to expand those further. So mainly real estate, title, mortgage, home health care, some real estate holdings, and then looking to get into some more limited partnerships and more real estate holdings.
So, Joe, how are you motivating yourself? I mean, I talk to people every day, and they're always telling me how good of a business person you are, how motivating you are, how inspiring you are, how you strive to get to the next level. And so people follow you, right? You're leading by example. You strive to get to the next level, so are others. Like, how do you do it? Tell us.
Well, I don't have like a come up story. There's no story here of like I had it so hard and I've got a chip on my shoulder. Just grew up middle class, normal middle class, and at some point got lucky enough to get into real estate, start selling at Keller Williams, and started to really did not like sales. Well, it's all sales, right? But I didn't like the individual sales part of real estate. I liked the operations of a business. I liked all the verticals. I liked where if I could multiply as a broker, you can multiply, and next thing you know, you're making money off real estate, title, mortgage, property, casualty. And then what can you do with that money? You can deploy it into home healthcare deals. You can deploy it into real estate, so many different things. So I fell in love with the operations of a business. I think what I do to myself personally to stay motivated is to constantly overcommit, constantly stay broke from a cash perspective, like just constantly deploying every dollar I have so that I then have to go get more. Put it in places where you can't get it back. Once you invest in a fund, it's gone, go make some more. Once you put in a property, it's gone, go make some more. And I focus on strictly stacking assets and not cash flow. And I see that online you get the complete opposite worst advice possible, whether it's real estate, whether it's business, whether it's these e-com, solopreneur, that type of bullshit stuff. Businesses have employees. Businesses have real revenues exceeding 7-8 figures. And that's the point you need to get to. But today it's like there's so much rhetoric around be your own business, control your destiny. It's like, well, really, you just want a 4-hour work week, which isn't a real thing. You're seeking balance before you've ever achieved anything. which is not, there's no such thing as work-life balance if you're actually trying to get to something great. It's not possible. If you want to be the best soldier, you're the best fucking soldier, and your family suffers while you're on deployment. That's the same thing in real estate. You know, if it's in business and you want to make a lot of money, well, there's nothing wrong with making a lot of money. You might just have people around you that don't find that acceptable to make money. They've given up on money. They've given up on themselves. They don't know how to make money, and you can't let them drag you.
I was growing up in a culture where nobody taught me like about money. So how am I supposed to do something I don't know how to do? How am I supposed to be the man of my family? How am I supposed to lead, my kids? I don't know how. I don't know about money. People are.
So you asked a lot of like really deep, big questions in that last comment. Like, how do I inspire the next generation to get, to understand money if they haven't taken literacy financial classes, and they're not offered unless you're going to like really expensive universities. Like, how do I teach these things, and how do I learn about them myself? And I think, we've talked about it before, like the power of the five, right? Who are you hanging out with? What do they know? What do they strive to be? Ultimately, you're going to become an average of those people. And so here we are with purpose, creating a podcast called The Network, because we want to make sure that the five people are inspiring, are motivating, and can get shit done, right? And so we're sitting next to Joe McCabe, and he's talking about staying broke, which, oh, by the way, you did, right? But he wouldn't have done like 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago, right? But instead, he saw the power of staying broke and massive action, and just said, we're going to start a podcast. I'm going to invest in all of this equipment because I see that ultimately it will become what I want it to be. So staying broke,
You probably were broke, and you probably just didn't want to go back to ground zero, which is understandable. But that's pretty much how my story begins in 2016. That I hear is like what you just said. We hear from realtors all the time, is that they basically don't know. They kind of think that they don't know what they don't know, and they're more worried about spreadsheeting things and figuring things out. And what I did in basically from 2016 to 2019, I didn't have any money. Fast forward to now, Justin dropped some hints on where I am, and that was because I decided to stay broke. I realized that at some point in 2016, and a lot of this credit goes to the Grant Cardone 10X conference in Vegas, but I had a start date for Philadelphia Police Academy. It was like December of 2015. I started selling real estate not long before that, made the police salary in 6 months, and I was already a cop in the military, so my family's like, you can always be a cop. You can be a cop. Like, you can be a cop when you're 40. Like, sure. You can always do it. You can always fuck it up and come back. And I'm like, all right, well, that makes sense. So I started selling real estate really aggressively. Someone told me I'd be a better real estate or a better owner than I would be a real estate agent. I'm like, okay. So I just go buy a franchise. And so that's the first lesson. I didn't research franchises. I looked for the cheapest one. I didn't know anything about running a business. I didn't know where to get a broker. I didn't know how to get my broker's license. I just jumped in and did it.
So like every example that you're talking about right now, like you've said stay broke twice. So I want you to at some point elaborate on what that means, because a lot of people won't know. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, like everything that you're talking about is just like action, action, action. So also speak to that kind of mentality and that approach to business, because if real estate agents for your experience are like so focused on planning and like creating like a calendar, it sounds like maybe you're saying like maybe that's not the answer. Mm-hmm. So like elaborate on the go that you clearly have, and also like what does it really mean to stay broke? You've said that a couple times.
Yeah, I mean people in general just don't want to execute on that. It's hard for people to execute. They want to, I say like spreadsheeting it. They want to spreadsheet everything. They want to have all the data. And it's like, you could do that. Like when COVID hit, I was like, oh, everyone's going to go out of business. Let me see what I could buy. So I looked at businesses that just got listed. That's how we got into home healthcare, and now we're at $15 million in revenue in less than 9 months. What that was to me was like an idea. How do you buy a business? You go to BizBuySell or any other business broker website. You just start submitting offers. I didn't know anything about healthcare. Healthcare could have been laundromats.
Did you get it financed?
All seller finance for the most part. Raise some capital for some deals. But that's the thing, is like if you have an idea, just execute on it. What's the worst that could happen?
And So obviously that's a pro, that's a good thing. And then the flip side, like, let's say that I spent, 12 hours spreadsheeting some sort of business that, like, it's telling me what it's making, it's telling me what it's earning, it's telling me what it's costs. And I spreadsheet it, and I spreadsheet it, and I spreadsheet it. And ultimately, like, I either get in my own head and don't execute, or somebody else comes, probably him, and swoops it up, and so now it's gone.
Well, that's what people do. It's like, well, the biggest thing with realtors, like, well, I want to make more money in real estate. Okay, well, double your workload, call more people. How many hours did you work today? How long did you spend on social media? Like, we can figure that out. That's all bullshit. And then what are the next things you do in real estate? It's not hard. Look around. Grow a team. Start a brokerage. Get title. Get mortgage. Build all that up under you. Like, there's no secret sauce to this. Do you know how to do all those things? No, but you need, the first step is to say, hey, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go buy this LLC, and I'm going to go open it up. And the other thing that people do is they bring in a little bit of money and they squander that 10 grand. 10 grand's bullshit. Take that 10 grand, get another employee. That's 3 months of payroll maybe. Now you got an assistant as a realtor.
Invest in yourself.
Who's your influence?
That a lot of people get too caught up in, let's figure out, like, part of spreadsheeting it is, who's my mentor? Who do I know? Let me talk to them. Then you're going to want to talk to someone else. Then you're going to want to talk to an attorney. I became my own attorney, my own accountant, all that stuff in the beginning, because you have to. And it's a balance, like a dichotomy between, sure, business is a marathon. Everyone says that shit. That's just an excuse to be slow. It's a marathon, but you better run it like a sprint in the short term, because, like, you're always playing catch up. Like, Jesse and I are doing a lot with title joint ventures with other brokers in different states, and it's like we have to go sign that JV, get them up and running, use our centralized operations center, then start hiring for people. Then, at some point, it all gets chaotic. And that's because we are still a startup.
Early on.
It's a run-up. It's a sprint. And then it stabilizes and gets nice.
I also think that, with that idea of it's a marathon, but you have to run out the gate sprinting, like, something I truly believe in is when you talk about anything in life, but we're here talking about business specifically, but business, physical wellness, spiritual wellness, relationships, whatever it may be, like, there's a couple things that are real, right? The people overestimate what they can accomplish in a really short period of time. All right, I'm just going to change my life in a day or a week or a month. Like, it's not realistic. But what is realistic is that over a course of a, extended time, you can change your life. So come out the gate with the long-term goal from tomorrow, right? It has to happen tomorrow or it's not happening. The next day it has to happen. So, like, you have this idea of, I'm going to change my life. I got to execute. I got to fire on all cylinders. I got to put the pedal to the metal and go. And, like, it might not happen tomorrow, which is where it's a marathon comes into play. But if you're not acting like it needs to happen yesterday, you're probably not going to get to that end goal you set for yourself. So, like, don't underestimate what you can accomplish if you focus and if you go. And I think that, like, there's an example sitting right here that's saying, like, these are the things you need to do. And, like, the financial literacy you're talking about with how can I educate myself, people around me, others, my family, my generations to come. I mean, it's really that. It's just, like, open your eyes and listen, and, like, success leaves clues. It's right there.
And, like, honestly, like, it's the people you're around. Like, so I know that I got to execute, because if I'm in conversations with people of your stature and your caliber, and, like, I have no choice but to execute. All involved in this Grant Cardone training. So, like, I watch an hour in the morning and an hour at night. I watch this Grant Cardone. It's like my brain's being washed. And I told Jesse, my brain needs washed.
Yeah.
From all those years of dumb stuff.
So I would say, and I would challenge, and I'm saying it to myself too, like, the fears that exist from saying I want to get from point A to point B, and again, this is for myself too, are also just excuses. Right? Like, every fear that somebody might have out there and saying that they can't do what Joe's done, or they can't do what we're doing, or they can't do what X, Y, and Z is doing, it's more than a fear. It's an excuse, and they've created this excuse in their head, right? Like, challenge yourself. You're saying to yourself right now, we got it different than you. they have it different than I, like whatever it is. So therefore, I can't do it. I'm scared to do it. Really, like, you're creating an excuse, and your excuse is a myriad of things. Like, it could be that you have kids, or it could be that you have this job that's like a 9 to 5 and it's paying the bills barely, or you could that you have some like money stashed away in some corner of the room that you don't want to waste or lose. But like the reality is it's an excuse. So like change your mind frame, wash your brain. You're not going to change your life by having these doubts, having these fears, having these excuses. Like if you want to change your life, it's going to take hard work. It's going to take motivation. It's going to take something beyond what you thought you could do. And it's going to take like a marathon of effort.
When I first met Joe, we were having a conversation, and I didn't even know there was a word for it. It was called Imposter Syndrome. Remember? And he was like, man, you wouldn't even know that I deal with that with billionaires. And it's like, there's levels to it. And like, guys, very successful, very productive, but he has imposter syndrome. Everybody goes through it, man.
Yeah, people overcomplicate that and any excuse. It's like if you take everything Jesse just said, the next thing they start doing is telling you, I could do all that, but I have all these other things going on, or I'll do this when all of these other things fall into place. Well, guess what? None of those things are going to fall into place. It just is not going to happen. And imposter syndrome, that exists at every level. Talk to a millionaire or a billionaire, like one of the biggest things right now is me alienating myself from the day-to-day running of the business. It's like, what do I do? What do I do now? Like, it's like, well, go do more businesses. So I start just turn off the imposter syndrome bullshit. Like, just turn it off. Like, okay, so that's bothering you, throw it away and move on. You got sued, throw it away and move on. It doesn't matter. You can get sued and you can cry about it for a week, or you can get sued and go make enough money to pay off the lawsuit, or just get a complex legal structure, not pay them off.
And the imposter syndrome, for those who don't know, just basically like not believing you are good enough. Like
it's like no matter, and this happens to people with huge egos, happens to everybody. It's like no matter what you have achieved, you always feel like, do I really deserve this? Like, and it feeds into, if you came up from a middle class background or a really, really poor background, you do get somewhere. It's like, you don't want your family to see that. Like I was pretty nervous to show my family my house. I didn't know how that was going to go. I mean, if you had asked me 6 months ago, should I buy a house? Realtors, don't tell your clients this. I would just not, I'd be like, that's the dumbest thing to do, right? Houses aren't the investment right now, businesses are. And I think like a lot of people kind of know something's coming, a correction, whether it's in the market, it's in the real estate market. It'll affect everything. Prices will stabilize. A good indicator to me is just that, I sold my last house for the same price it sold for in 2008 when the prices were high at the height, or I guess 26 or 2006. But the point is that's a pretty good indicator. One big thing that people are always like trying to do is, I hear this from a lot of realtors, they're trying to be an investor. But then they go for the wrong unit count. Bigger deals are easier to finance. They're easier to cash flow on. They're more stable. And it's as simple as this. If you have a single-family home or a duplex and you lose a tenant, you're done. If you have a 20-unit complex and you lose 2 tenants, you're good. You can still pay the debt. The debt service is still covered, and that's what's important. And really, all cash flow from these properties is a liability. It's something you now have to pay taxes on.
So let me ask you something, because now you have a little bit more free time because you're stepping back from the business. Are you going to take this opportunity? Because I know you're about to launch a book, right? You've been writing a book, man.
We're launching a book, but I'm actually going to just use it to do more. So I hired a chief of staff that can kind of run the day-to-day operations of most companies, and I just want to focus on acquisitions and just really high-level stuff. So acquiring more title companies, doing more joint ventures with real estate brokers, and recruiting more real estate agents to the company. One of the things that we do really, really well, and this is mainly Jesse's role now, is, coming from KW and being a new agent, kind of starting from nothing, I realized that it wasn't training that agents needed. I never really think it's the training. It's a mindset shift.
It's a culture.
You need better culture. You need more commission split. You need leads. You need that type of stuff, like practical stuff. Get on the phone with somebody, then we can train you. Go write it. Get someone that convince them to write a deal and get under contract. Then we'll teach you how to write all that up.
And that,
it's simple. It's like realtors always say, well, how am I going to get from $6 million to $15 million?
A team.
Well, how many calls a day do you make? I don't make any. Okay. Well, let's start there. Make 100 calls today. And if you do that every single day, you will close deals. You just will. There's no way around it. Just sheer volume across the board. You can never lose. The bigger the business, the better you are. If you look at, I'm kind of stealing this a little bit from Grant Cardone, but when the market tanked and they were calling all these mortgages due, who did they call? They called these individual homeowners. They didn't call the guys with $1 billion in real estate debt. They were like, how can we help you out, sir? But everyone else, they're like, screw you guys, give us your house. And they cashed in on it.
And so now that you wrote a book, right, and, you're having a little bit more time and you're actually coming up with an educational platform for your realtors, right?
Our whole model, people are always talking about getting paid and these assholes online with these e-com things. And I don't have Instagram on my phone. I hate social media. I don't touch it. I don't want anything to do with it because it's all fake. And if you start looking into the backgrounds of these people, it's like, well, okay, you rented that jet. That's why you're taking a picture of it. You rent these Rolls Royces. Like, I was talking to a guy. I just wanted to go see a Rolls Royce. I have no intention of buying one anytime soon. He's like, oh, yeah, people just buy them. And then they put them on tour and rent them out so people come take pictures with it. And I'm like, that's so pathetic. So I don't have, what I want, and the people that I would want to help are the people who are just not coming to me and saying, like, I don't even know where to start. Like, how do I go from 6 million to 15 million? Really? Like, you already know what to do, but come to me now and say, I've got so much money that I made from I started making 100 calls a day because I have common sense and realized that all I needed to do was double down on my volume. How do I get to where can I park this money? How can I scale this business? How can I grow my team? How can I add a vertical?
Interject here because I was gone for a minute and now
hey, welcome back, buddy.
What's up? The time that I've known him, the time that I've known Joe, it's not been like I'm gonna coach you, I'm gonna show you how it's done, I'm gonna come like let's do all these. No, I'm gonna lead by example, right? I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna continue to make moves that make sense, that make me money, that make the business money, that grow everybody around me, and from there. You're either going to come along for the ride or you're not, right? And so law of attraction exists. That's the coaching element, right? The reason that you learned what you learned and he dropped the knowledge that he dropped was not because he intended to come out and coach. It was because he was living his life, leading by example. It attracted other people, and they were blessed to hear and see what he was doing, right? Like, that's the ultimate goal is let's lead by example. Let's attract because of the law of attraction. And let's inspire because
like he said on Instagram, man, all these, gurus and master classes, and like I bought into a lot of them, and some of them are good, but like it's better when you have the real deal, like our team, like the network, like what we're gonna be doing. We're gonna be bringing people together and just having a good time, and like I'm so excited to learn, man, because I don't know nothing, man. And the problem is the people that know everything are broke. Like when you know everything, you're broke. Like rich people, they don't think like that. They have a what mindset?
Limited. I would say that it's interesting if you walked around this 3-person couch. Like, do you feel like you know everything? I don't feel like I know anything. We follow the footsteps of those before us. It's just like, let's just do it. There's 10 ideas. And all 10 of those ideas are saying, like you said, I wish I would have done that, or I could have done that if X, Y, and Z. But then that person actually did it, and there they are, and we're all looking at them. Like,
and then you feel sick for no reason.
Man,
what's your
answer? I actually say that. I mean, like about anxiety and people that have anxiety. I'm like, I wonder if anxiety is really just your brain telling you that you're not doing anything with your life, and maybe you should step up. Now, not to say I'm sure there's a very small population in the world that actually has chronic, real depression that can only be cured with pills. I believe that.
I'm most anxious when I'm idle. I'm most anxious when I'm not doing more than what I think I should be doing. Just sit on your couch and say, my life is going to change. You got to do something about it. Super simple.
Caught up. That's why I love Joe and Jesse, man. Like, anytime I bring something to them, all right, let's do it. Like, I ain't going to lie, Joe. I told a lot of my friends about you. I was like, he's so successful. You know why? Because he just puts people together.
Our biggest goal every day and the action that we take is like, introduce me to somebody. And it's everything. It's the real estate side. It's new business side. It's meet a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. Like, the only way that's going to happen is you meet somebody you didn't meet before.
So what kind of relationships are you looking for? Like,
First, don't worry about the introductions. Put in the work, and the introductions are going to come to you because people are going to notice that you've actually started to achieve something. So there's so many people out there looking to get proximity, looking to get close to people, worrying about what their value is. I take all that out of the equation, and if I want to be somewhere, I go there. And you need to pay to go there, or if you want to know how to get new clients in a new business you're starting, go do it for free. If you want to work somewhere, call them a million fucking times and work there for free. They'll hire you. If you want to sell real estate, I mean, this is like the dumbest thing I've ever said, but go sell a house for free and offer to be their buyer's agent. Like, you want to build up a book of clients, make it a no-brainer for people.
He dropped some DOMs, but what I was thinking he might say is, I don't really care who I meet because we'll never know where it will go. But like, he did drop bombs of, I want to be in certain places because you know the type of people who might be there. And if you want to meet somebody or be in a business, I mean, he got me. I tried to set him up.
Yeah. I mean, it's intimidating. I actually had set this goal that I had never had before. GoBundance is a men's networking group, and you got to have a minimum net worth to get in, and you get interviewed and you join. And then they have an upper tier group. So I worked like hell, and this should tell you everything. I worked like hell to get my net worth up to qualify for Champions. I did that in like 6 to 9 months. Then from there, they start telling me about how I had built this American art presidential collection I'm starting to build. I have like 13 presidents, all of era paintings. And this guy who worked at PricewaterhouseCoopers was like, oh, one of my clients is a billionaire, and he has all these paintings. And I was like, why didn't I ever try to meet a billionaire? Like, in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go meet a billionaire. So I start telling myself this constantly. A few weeks later, I get a one-on-one meeting with Dave Osborne, who's basically a billionaire. A few weeks after that, I get invited to Necker Island. Oh, the reason I got super, super angry, and sometimes you need a chip on your shoulder, is the billionaire basically said that I'd be wasting his time by meeting with him. So I said, oh, that's okay. You're just not the right billionaire. Move on. I go, and next thing you know, I know like 10 billionaires.
So you had a goal to meet a billionaire. Well, first to be in Champions, then to meet a billionaire, and then 10 billionaires later, including a couple you said,
now
it's not worth it.
I'm a partner in R360 and the chairman of their Rising Leaders Committee, and I know 60 people worth more than
Manifest
$1 million.
destiny.
but yeah, you got to pay to get in the room.
The money I paid in those rooms, and people won't even put up $1,000 to go to an event.
That's what going broke means, right? Like,
I've had these jeans; they have holes in them. I've had these for like 7 years. I don't care about clothes. Jesse
You
knows
go
I wear the same clothes every single day. I have like 3 outfits: shorts, polo shirt.
we were on a magazine
Sperry's.
cover. It was this shirt.
So,
That's it.
so I know some agents probably watch this and they're like, yo, I need to be a part of that team. How can they get a hold of us?
Reach out to me or Jesse. 2 things: if you're a realtor in this city, we will be forcing my book on you at some point, and then hopefully Jesse. Everybody, like, one piece of advice. There's really 3 top books, but if you were going to read one right now, it'd be the 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. We've mentioned his name a million times, and that's because he has literally changed my life, and I think a lot of the people that work for us.
He changed my life.
He's incredible. And then 2 other books: Relentless by Tim Grover and Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willing. Now, based on the titles, they're very aggressive books. But
All of the things you just said, and somebody
Text
will get back
message.
to you, but you can text me or call me on
So
my
anybody
cell phone.
can text you guys.
510-205-5371. It's not a secret.
Awesome.
It's like we're here looking for it. I assumed he would say anybody. He took it to the next level because he's already passed that, anybody. He has goals. But generally, like, you should be able to say, I'll meet that person, and if it works, it works. And if they're not supposed to be in my 5, get them out of your 5. But an intro does not, like, marry you to that person, or does not, like, condemn me if I introduce you and you don't work well.
Awesome. One of the reasons that I used to spend a lot of time with individual agents and people. There are multiple agents that used to work for the company who I would take these guys to the gym with me. I would hang out with them every night. I would give them the keys to everything that I was doing. I'd tell them everything. I'd lay it out for them line by line. I will tell people exactly what they need to do. I'm not going to coach them through it. They're either going to execute it or they're not. the most frustrating part, and I haven't achieved anything compared to the people that I'm surrounded by, but the most frustrating part for them, and you can tell a lot of them are sick of it, so I'm very careful about how I interact with them and what I ask for. I don't ask for anything. I try to give value, hence running the Rising Leaders Committee. It's a huge turnoff to spend so much time on somebody, tell them everything they need to do, and they still question you, and they still don't do it. I told people how I bought 70 properties in Pittsburgh, 100% seller financed, and all they could ask is, how's that legal? What does that even mean? How's that legal? It's legal. I don't know. Shut up. Do it or don't do it. We're in Miami for a Grant Cardone event, and a few people were like debating or questioning something that Grant Cardone said. You know, and in the back of my head, I'm just like, who are you to do that? Like, if someone who's where you want to be in a business world and hasn't gone to jail and has done everything legally and they've got a big company and you like what they did and you're following them and they say, hey, go do these 10 things, just do them.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not rocket science.
And the fear, the questions, the doubts, like those are going to be there. But then, all right, continue where you're at and watch that person rise and ascend.
Yeah.
So best destiny. It's going to happen. You're going to create it. You're going to see it through. Give us a good outro.
If you are trying to network, connect, collaborate, create, and change your life, network with us, baby, so you can bring your net worth up.
Yeah,
and we're out of here.
Network to increase your net worth.
And we're out of here like that.